Great, amazing. So here's our agenda for today. We're going to first hear from Christine Chung, who's Energy Efficiency Lead in the Climate Change team at H&F. She'll introduce herself and H&F Healthy Homes. Then we'll go on to our main speaker, Caroline Castilla, who's Senior Outreach Officer at Groundwork London. She's worked in their Green Doctors team for 5 years, leading on the delivery of energy advice, training and workshops. And Caroline is going to give you a flavour of the advice that our H&F Healthy Home service provides, and she'll also explain how to access this service. Then, as I said, there'll be time for questions for Caroline after that. And then finally, I'm just going to share a few more ways that you can stay involved on the topic of climate change with H&F. So, Caroline, I'm going to ask you to take control of your slides and, crack on with your part.
I would just
sorry, Chrissy.
Introduction.
That's all good. You the introduction first.
Afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining. As Hope said, my name's Christine, and I lead on the fuel poverty and energy efficiency initiatives at Hammersmith and Fulham. So we've designed a bespoke service that aims to help people who's struggling with energy bills by implementing cost-reducing energy efficient measures. And additionally, this is to help to also reach our net zero targets by 2030. So this is all in line with our goals in our fuel poverty and climate strategy. And this service was designed based off the feedback that we did late 2024 in a residents focus group. So we're very excited to partner up with Groundwork to deliver the service, H&F Healthy Homes. And I'll now hand over to Carolina, who's our Senior Outreach Officer, to talk a little bit more about what it offers, who's eligible, and all the support provided.
Hi, hello everyone. Can you hear me properly? Yes. Thank you, Hope and Christine, for the introductions. Like I said, I'm Carolina, a Senior Outreach Officer for the Green Doctors team, and I will be talking today about the Hammersmith and Fulham Healthy Homes and different ways in how we can, reduce energy but still live a very, very comfortable life. I always like to say energy is a huge topic, so I'm sure there will be a lot of questions at the end. If we cannot answer all the questions, we will definitely follow up with Hope and Carlos, with the person who is asking. Thanks again for joining us today. As Christine said, the Hammersmith and Fulham Healthy Home is an initiative between the London Borough of Hammersmith and Fulham and Groundwork London. And the idea is to support residents to reduce energy costs and improve the home comfort. The goals of the Hammersmith and Fulham Healthy Home Service, who was launched in last November, is to increase the energy and efficiency in residential properties through grant uptakes, and I will go on that point with more details in a couple of slides. Is alleviate fuel poverty by reducing energy bills and debt, and we are doing this delivering free and impartial home visits or telephone consultations to eligible residents. Again, I will talk more about that point as well. And during the project as well, we're already doing distributing energy advice materials and resources to key venues, other organizations we are working with, and partners in Hammersmith and Fulham. This is, again, in a nutshell with the service entitled, but we're starting now step by step. A little more in detail about the Green Doctors. Maybe some of you are familiar with us, maybe some not. So the Green Doctors is a team of energy advisors. We are part of the community called Groundwork London, a charity organization. We've been working, so the Green Doctors team has been working in London for 18 years now, so it's a long-standing service, and we aim to reduce fuel poverty and help people to improve the energy efficiency at home. We work in partnership, like is this the case with London Borough, social prescribing link workers, big organizations like could be Citizen Advice, HUK, as well as a small and grassroots organization. So if you have any lead, any contacts, feel free to get in touch after the session. And if you have any engagement coming up, we can help that with to come along. The idea as well of the service is, of course, we focus in energy and energy waste, but as well to help people to improve their health and well-being, because fuel poverty is a lot related with these issues. I know you can type in the chat, so feel free if you want. I will be asking some questions as we go along, so feel free to type in the chat. My colleague Alex Chessman is here as well to check. So we are finishing the winter almost now, still a little bit cold. So there is an ideal temperature that we should be hitting our homes during the coldest months. If you know, or if you like to guess, or if you like to share with us in the chat what's the temperature that you hit your homes, feel free to do that. The ideal temperature to live in a comfortable home, it's below 18 and 21 degrees. If you check with your GP, or if you go to the NHS website, this is a recommended temperature to hit the home during the winter. If the temperature is more than 21 degrees, this, in some cases will be very uncomfortable as well. For example, for babies or toddlers, but as well, of course, people will be paying high energy bills. And if the temperature is below 18 degrees and for a long period of time, this can cause a lot of health implications that we'll talk about in a minute as well. We always say if the resident has a particular health issues, recommend to check, of course, with the GP if they need to have your home warmer than that. In terms of health implications to living in a cold homes, maybe you heard some of those already. So, of course, increased risk of heart attack or stroke, high blood pressure, increase of any respiratory infections like COPD, asthma. It worsens arthritis in elderly people or people with limited mobility. Maybe, they can have falls or accidents during the winter if the homes is very cold and, they are sitting when they are moving, things like that. And unfortunately as well, excess winter death. We always hear every winter that the NHS is overwhelmed for, causes relating to living in a cold home. Another thing that we discuss sometimes with GP or social prescribing link workers, when people is this close for the hospital, if the home is very cold, in some cases, they will take longer to recover, or they need to come back to the hospital. So there is, of course, a lot of work that we can be done, like the borough and the NHS, and as well Groundwork London with the Green Doctors to try to alleviate that. But there are other impacts to living in the cold homes that sometimes we speak less about. One is, when households in low income need to take this very tough decision during the winter, when they need to choose between heating or eating, unfortunately. There is a lot of stress and anxiety related with, don't being able to pay the bills, not only for the adult member of the family, who are those who need to provide, of course, but as well for the youngest, teenagers who struggle to complete homework, or, people in primary school as well. A lot of social isolation, we have a lot of case studies, and I will share toward then a case study from a person who, after a visit from one of our green doctor, was feeling with more energy to do more things in the local community. Again, this is in a nutshell, all the aspects that are a resident, a household, or a person living alone is facing if they are living in a cold home. The idea, and of course, like Christine say, the idea as well of this project is, and for you, some of you are now climate change champions, to understand that there is people don't need to suffer alone. There is support available, and we can hopefully help to people to reach this support. A little bit about energy inefficiency of the property. We get a little more technical here, but it's important to understand that we lost energy for what we call the fabric of the homes. We can say the envelope of the homes, and meaning that people is putting money, paying for the bills to heat the homes in winter. We use around 60% of our yearly bill to heat the homes, and if the home is poorly insulated, this money it go to loss. So and I will talk about that in a minute as well. We can help people to apply for grants, but to understand where we lost most of the heat. The average that I will share with you, of course, are average. It will depend on the property, how old is the property, where it's located, and if there has been any improvement or not. But in general, we lose around 10% for the windows, around 15% for the doors or the floor, around 25% for the roof, and around 35% for the walls. So this is in general what the property will lose if it's not properly insulated. In terms of heat loss and insulations, I will talk about grants in a minute, but it's important to understand what is the energy performance certificate. The icon, the picture that you can see is similar of what we see, when we buy a new appliance from our homes. Could be a washing machine or a freezer, something like that. But the EPC, as we usually call, are aim at property. So the EPC, usually, people need to have an EPC if you are selling the property. If you are renting the property, the landlord should show the EPC to the tenant. And if people is applying for grants, and I will show you soon, the EPC will tell you how efficient is your property at the moment now, and what improvements can be done to make it more efficiency. Of course, the goal is to have most of the homes in A or B, but A or B will be the main goal. And if the property is rated in F or G, so the last two rates, no one should be living in that property, because this property is very cold, are very dangerous to the health. The EPC lasts for 10 years. There is the link. I know the slides are going to be shared. There is a link there, so you go to the government website, you put your postcode, your door number, and you can check if the EPC is up to date. Have a look, and if not, when people apply for grants, usually during the assessment of the grants, if the EPC is not up to date, the new EPC is generated as well. Again, take note of any question. Like I said at the beginning, energy is a huge topic, so happy to answer any question at the end, or pop it in the chat that Alex can be answering in between. Energy efficiency grants, I will be sharing some of them with you. Again, it's a lot of information, but for you to understand who can apply and what measures are covered. A couple of things who apply for most of the grants. The final measures that the people can apply for will be, decide after an assessment for a retrofitting or a person in charge to do the assessment of the property. In most of the cases, either people who is renting with the consent of the landlord can apply for grants as well. We'll see this in detail. And this, related with what I showed before about heat loss, is a good way to live in a comfortable home if people can apply for these grants, help climate change, so have less emissions and spend less money during the year. So it's kind of a win-win scenario. I know you were having a chat at the beginning. Sometimes it's difficult to navigate what grants are available, eligibility criteria. The Green Doctors team is here to support residents in Hammersmith and Fulham to understand that better. We have just a case study. I was asking to Green Doctors after the presentation. One of our energy advisors visited the resident. He he owned the property, and he wasn't aware that he can apply for some of the grants. So he already registered interest in some of the grants. The person is going to be away for a couple of weeks, but and the way back is going to follow this up. And he was thanking the green doctors because he didn't know about that. And when I do the talks in the community, some people, say straight away, no, I'm not entitled, but then they will be. So let's go to some of the details of the grants. Again, you then have the presentations to see everything more in detail. One of the most famous is the Great British Insulation Scheme. People, private housing homeowners, landlords, tenants, and other people in housing association, always, of course, with the permission of the landlord, can apply for this scheme. The idea, of course, is always do some retrofitting and reduce energy consumption. Some of the measures that can be installed is cavity wall insulation, heating controls, loft insulation, solid wood insulation, and floor insulation. And again, as I mentioned, it will be after the assessment to understand what they can have. And the landlord or the homeowner can only say yes or no to go ahead to the next step. The criteria is people in benefits or homeowners with the EPC between D and G, or a council tax band A or D. And there is a link there for people to apply. And again, if there is any extra, in some cases, there are some grants that people need to pay a little bit extra. This, after the assessment, they will be informed. But it's important that the resident has always the last word in terms of that. Then there is the Eco and EcoFlex. As well, the tenure could be homeowners, landlord, or housing association tenant, always with the consent of whoever is the landlord. People can access until 10,000 pounds of retrofitting. That could be free cavity wall insulation, could be air source, heat pump, free boiler upgrade, solar panels, loft insulation, central heating for the first time if there is no central heating, and solid wall insulation. Again, EPC, as you can see, is similar between D and G for homeowners, and E or G for tenants. The household income has to be 31K or below, and EcoFlex is for those who has, any health reasons that they really need to have a upgrade in the heating, because otherwise the condition will worsen. And then we have the boiler upgrade scheme. It could be as well homeowners, landlord, or a small business that they need to own the business. They can apply for retrofit until 7,500 for air source heat pumps, 7,500 as well for ground source heat pumps, and 5,000 for biomass boiler. Again, EPC criteria between D and G. It has to be replacing fossil fuel heating systems such as oil gas, electric, or liquid petroleum gas. And of course, each case is a particular case, no? But either if people has applied for other funding to make other improvements, they can still apply for that. New build homes and social homes are not eligible for this scheme. And then we have the warm homes. It's a local grant to be confirmed, but I think for what we heard will be up and running in the spring this year, 2025. And this is it's a UK government initiative that will help low-income households in England to make the home more energy efficiency. Eligibility criteria, of course, they need to live in England. The low income is 36,000. That is good, is welcome because it's higher, so more people hopefully could apply. EPC as well has to be between D and G, and as well the tenants will be private owned occupied by the owner or privately rented. And people can apply up to 50,000 of energy measure upgrades and up to 50,000 pounds on low carbon heating, such as insulation, solar panels, and air source heat pumps and per property. A little bit in numbers, no, because we talk about the grant, but sometimes we get a little bit lost. I will share some data that will tell, in average, what we call an average home, it will be a 3-bed terrace house, how much money they can save a year if they install some retrofitting, some measures. And then I will share after that what we can share because this of course has a little more of work, apply for a grant, maybe take a little bit longer to have the retrofit installed, but then we'll share the behavioral change, how we do in the daily basis. So for example, to install the red hot water jacket for a boiler can average save around £50 a year. So this is fitting, the hot water cylinder with the jacket that will help to insulate and, stop the heat loss. So the heat loss from the tank can be reduced in around 75%. Have a double glazing windows if it's possible, can roughly save around £120 a year. So, of course, could improve the warmth of the house, and in around 64%. It's important, and again, this is other topics, during the winter to check condensation. We need to, of course, insulate our home, but as well to allow to breathe. So this is things that we speak in the one-to-one when we do our consultations. Draft proofing the windows, door, and chimney can save around £30. And doing the loft insulation, that usually, it's a low cost insulation to be done, and can save around £150, because as I say, we lost around 25% for the ceiling. So this is for you to have some roughly idea. In terms of the behavioral change, this is the things that every resident we can do every day in how we go around and we save energy. And again, at the end of the year, we can save a lot of energy, and it's about energy, and it's about to be more environmental friendly. So why we need to waste energy if we can live a very comfortable life using less? I will share with you some tips, but before, it's important to understand where we use most of the energy. So in a year, in general, we use 60% to heat our homes, 24% for the hot water, around 7% for small electrical items, around 6% for lighting, and around 3% for cooking. Of course, heating and hot water are the things that we always need to focus. The savings in pounds that I'm sharing with you now are data shared by the Energy Saving Trust, and is in what we say the typical household. So it's a family of 4 living in a property, with the kitchen, bathroom, 2-bedroom living room, and with that they have gas and electricity, because, as you are aware, there are some properties that are electric only. So one way to save energy is to try to turn the temperature down 1 degree, again, never below 18, but this can potentially save around 10% of our annual energy bills. Another tips my grandmother always shared with me, try to close the curtain at night if you have the possibility, when the sounds go down, to keep the heat in. In terms of TV and small electrical items, I love these tips. Try to don't leave the TV on standby. It's very easy. Everybody, can follow, and can potentially save around £45 a year. Don't leave the lights on if we are not in the room, can potentially save around £7 a year. Then the kettle, we use a lot for tea, coffee, so try to don't overfill the kettle, only put the water that you need, could save around £10 a year. Washing machine, most of the people always say use 40-degree. Recommendation is wash at 30-degree. The daily clothes are, usually not very dirty. So we encourage people to try at least a couple of cycles, and people can save around £20 a year. 24 pounds a year, sorry. Have shorter showers for, again, a family, a typical household can be shared as, can be saved around 60 pounds a year. And in terms of water, we haven't talked a lot about water today, but of course, don't leave the tap running when you are brushing your teeth. Another way to save some water. So this is in terms of the advice, things people can do to save, but what service is available for the residents with the Hammersmith and Fulham Healthy Homes. So from this service, people can have, and I will share with you the eligibility criteria, a free and impartial energy consultation with one of our energy advisors that will be a face-to-face or a telephone consultation. During the consultations, the energy advisors, they have a set of questions that they, help residents to open up all the possible problem and solutions. But in general, we help people to understand the utility bills, to understand if they are paying the right tariff, if they can change to a better supplier. It's always, we give advice. The last decisions to make any change will be always of the residents. Sometimes happen when people are not sending the meter readers. There are a lot of problems with the bill, so we support that, of course, in the one-to-one. We support a lot with energy tips, behavioral change that we, tailor to what the household we are visiting. We help people to understand what discounts are available and how they can apply, like, water discounts, warm home discounts, winter fuel payments during the winters. Some discounts are managed by the DWP, so the Department of Work and Pensions, but we can help them to understand if they think that they are entitled, how they can apply, or we can support with that. We help a lot of people with the Priority Service Register. That is a wonderful service that all the energy suppliers have. It's a non-financial support, but basically it's a red flag to the supplier to understand that in the case of an emergency, they need to contact this household firsthand. But then as well, if people is on the Priority Service Register, they can send someone to take the meter reading. If it's possible, the meter can be moved to a more, accessible location. They can send the people in the large street. So there is a lot of extra, again, non-financial support for the residents. In terms of debt, so if the residents we are visiting has debt with gas, electricity, and water, again, this is in a one-to-one basis. We assess the situation and we can, for example, help to apply for grants or to write off the debts, or we can speak with the energy supplier to understand why is the debt there. In some cases, the debt is not correct, or we can, try to manage a better way to pay with the energy supplier. Again, this is in a one-to-one basis. Very, very important, we help people to apply for larger grants, some of the grants that I mentioned before. So if people like to improve the heating system of the property, as I mentioned, it sometimes could be, complicated, and we were talking about that. To apply for these grants, people get a little bit confused. So our green doctors will help them to make the applications, to be sure that, everything is followed up, and to understand which of the grants will be better depending of the, of the situation of the resident that we are supporting. If we do a home visit, not during the telephone consultations, but if we do a home visit, we install free small energy measures like LED bulb, radiator panel, draft excluders. So this will help people, to start saving energy. And we make as well people more connected with the local community. So if there is if there is anything disclosed to us so if there is anything disclosed to us during our consultation that we cannot support with, we make people more connected with the local community. I'd like to share as well a case study that one of energy advisors shared with me. So she visited a lady in Hammersmith and Fulham. the lady was spending a lot of energy. She wasn't understanding why, so she helped, our energy advisor helped to understand the utility bills, and as well helped to understand the heating system better. She wasn't, she was a little bit scared to maybe fit or move the heating system to the optimal temperature, so the energy advisor helped with that, and as well to install some energy measures. And the residents expressed to the Green Doctor that she was feeling quite isolated and doing not so many things from the community as she used to use before. So after the visit, she says she now has the energy and start already doing some work with the young people in the borough. So again, this is in a nutshell for you to understand that, the support is important because that's so many things of the daily life of the residents. When we leave, come back to a warm home, we can have our meal and we don't worry about how to pay, and we understand to take control, no? For example, in how we use energy in the daily life, it will give a big benefit to the people. So this is very, very important. In terms of the eligibility criteria, so to access to the Hammersmith and Fulham Healthy Homes, people, of course, might live in Hammersmith and Fulham borough, and they need to have one of these conditions. So we help people who has a disability. If there is people with a long-term health condition worsened by the cold at home, if there is a pregnant woman, if there is people who is 60 and over, if there are children under the age of 10, because young kids are quite heated for fuel poverty as well, for living in a cold home. If the household income is 36,000 a year or less, and if the people, so the household is paying really high energy bills, means more than 10% of the yearly income. To book a consultations, there are basically 3 ways. We have a free telephone number that people can call, and I understand Carlos will put some links, but if not, I can put the links as well of the call. It's a completely free telephone number. If the line is busy, people can leave a message and we can call them back. The quickest way is always to fill the online form, because means that, GDPR protected, and people can, we call them back. So instead to call us, we call them to book the appointment, and there is a dedicated email address as well for this project. So what happens once we receive a referral? The resident is called in advance to make the proper appointment, either if it's a telephone consultation, so the people know in advance when the Green Doctors will be calling them, because they need to have around an hour. If it's a telephone consultation, it's around an hour, and if it's a home visit, will be around an hour and a half, because we need to install the free energy measures as well. We try, visits and calls are between Monday to Friday. We try to fit the schedule of the residents with our availability as well. And yes, so we have a dedicated leaflet and a dedicated as well a poster. So if any of you are interested in having those, either digital or hard copies, please do keep in touch. And yes, it's everything for me. Happy, of course, to answer any question, or if you like me to, talk a little bit more about some of the points that discuss. Again, remember, we do support residents to apply for grants if they like to, interested in install big energy measures to retrofit into the property, to use less energy, save energy, so it help as well with climate change. And doesn't matter the tenure of the property, we can support them to understand if there are a grant available, how to apply, and how to follow up.
Thanks so much, Carolina. Thank you. So we're going to have a few minutes for Q&A for Carolina, obviously Chrissy as well, or ourselves if you want to. There aren't any questions in the Q&A function, but would anyone like to ask a question? Do just raise your hand and come off mute. Pascal.
Hi, thank you, Carolina. That was very interesting. I've got a couple of questions for you. First of all, what is the percentage of the Hammersmith and Fulham population that is eligible for Green Doctor? Do you have an idea?
No, I don't have an answer for that. I don't know, Christine, if you, I mean, I'm just a senior outreach officer. I don't manage the data. Yeah. I can guess I can ask my manager, but I don't know, Christine, if you have any information about it.
What I would say on that, so we do have like eligibility criteria. What I always say to people when I'm at these presentations, get in contact anyway, because even if we can't help you, even if you don't fit our criteria, we'll still try and signpost you to various organizations in the local area. We don't like turning people away. We don't like saying, no, we can't help them. Everyone is struggling with the same things. So that's why we want to help everyone as much as we can. So if you're not sure, you can make, as Carolina said, you can make referrals on other people's behalfs. So yeah, you're more than welcome to do that. We can even get in contact with you or directly with the resident. And if they're not eligible, we'll find alternatives for them.
Okay. And how big is the Hammersmith and Fulham Green Doctor team?
So we've got a team of, I can never remember this because various reasons. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 people who cover all of London.
All over London, okay.
All of London, yeah. So we haven't got one that's specifically for Hammersmith and Fulham.
Okay.
But we've got about a 3-week wait list currently because we've been so busy with winter.
Yeah.
However, we do have a process in place. Like if there's a priority, that we've had a few people recently who've just had a major operation for whatever reason, they have no heating, hot water. Although we can't see them like that day, we'll book them in for an appointment, the next earliest appointment. But if someone on the team has a cancellation and they're in that area, they'll message that resident, say, hey, look, I've had a cancellation. Are you free now? Yes, you are. Great. I'll come and see you.
Okay. And just another quick question is, I think a lot of the grants that we're talking about are based on the EPC of your house. So
it's that, and also finance as well, depending on your ingoings and outgoings.
But how are we sure that the EPC of our house is correct?
That's a great question.
So they're currently reviewing EPCs at the moment, but this is the framework that we have at the moment. So majority of the grants do require homes to be EPC D or below, and that's just to ensure that we're targeting the least energy efficient buildings. But I believe from next year onwards, there is going to be a review to ensure that the EPCs are reflective of it being the most carbon intensive and not just relying on price.
One of our team is qualified to do EPC ratings, not officially, but they can do a review of the home. So if someone wanted to just briefly see what their EPC rating is, they can do that. Lovely lady called Janet. But generally, whoever owns the home, so I guess in this case would be the councils, they're the ones who would be conducting the EPC rating. And they are valid for 10 years. So if it was done like 8 years ago, it will be, as Carolina mentioned earlier, there is a website you can check the EPC rating of the home if it's been done in the past 10 years or so.
Okay.
Yes, and in some case, Pascal, because I have a case, I was speaking with the residents, they apply for a grant and the EPC was wasn't updated, so when the assessor went to, retrofitting assessor went to see the property to see what can be installed, they updated the EPC, and I think with 2 days they updated the government website with the EPC with no cost. And again, in that case, it's still after that up to the resident to go ahead with the measures that are proposed to be fit. Yeah, but like Christine say, is it's the government website and the national government who manage the criteria at the moment for that. But yes, hopefully will be shaping as we move along in the years. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Is that all, Pascal? I'll pass over to the other half of your dynamic duo.
Those are great questions, by the way, so thank you for that.
Yeah, really great questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I just carry on with one question. You spoke a lot about homes and house. Are you doing exactly the same for flats in maisonette or in mansion blocks, for example?
Yes,
I think we do even get asked sometimes about caravans. So we'll pretty much see anybody. We would ask so the home is accessible. So unfortunately, we have come across people who have hoarding issues, and we're not always able to successfully assess those homes. So we do all we can to visit everybody, regardless of where they're living.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, and in terms, Cecil, of course, doesn't matter. It's a good question as well. The tenure of the property, so people can, own the property, rent privately, live in housing association. Either if people living in a temporary accommodation, as far as they pay for the bills, we will be able to support. Okay. And yes, I usually refer to home or houses, but flat, of course, we support in Hammersmith and Fulham a lot of people living in flat, council flats or housing associations. Yes, this is not, like I say, the criteria that, will be shared with you in the slide is that the criteria that has to be met. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And one thing I like to mention, sorry, Hope, in between we maybe have another questions, is we, of course, with this project, we have a lot of engagement. So the Green Doctors team has been out and around a lot. We've been in the Norwich Hub last week, and we have already some sessions confirmed. Some of them, of course, are mostly close to service users, but we've been I will be myself on the 7th of March. I will be in the warm welcome session. I will have an information stall in Our Lady of Fatima Church. And then the following week, I will be in Randolph Beresford Children's Center. I've been in 2 children's centers already, speaking with parents. Toddlers, like I say, are very quite hit if they live in a whole home, so has very good the feedback and taking referrals. And on the 26th of March, I will be doing an energy talk for an organization called Way Through that they support people with mental health issues. This session as well is closed for desktop service users, but we, either the Green Doctors team and Hammersmith and Fulham comms teams usually, do some social media shout out when we have activities coming up open to people. And hopefully in, spring and summer, we can attend some of the activities, fairs that are open during the warmer months. So please keep an eye, and I guess, as well in some of the newsletters as well that you receive, you will be having update of that. But like I mentioned, if there is any opportunity that you think we can, come across and go and speak with people to promote the service, please do get in touch.
Thanks, Carolina. Pascal, is that a legacy hand, or do you have another question? No more questions. Does anyone else have any questions? Any more climate champions on the call? It's cool to see that you guys are here. I hear someone coming off mute. Well, if we don't have more questions and you do think of them afterwards, do just get in touch. Carlos will just ask you to put the email address back in the chat for Groundwork. And here's just a few other ways you can stay involved with climate action with H&F. So we've got our next Climate Cafe on the green investment on Thursday, the 13th of February. And you'll learn all about our really exciting green investment product, and this actually opens on Monday. And this allows residents to support local climate adaptation, mitigation projects, from greening our streets to cycle hangers, and make a good return at the same time. You can also sign up to our very own volunteer-led community energy co-op in the borough too, H&F Community Energy. And this really allows you to take a real active role in investing and deciding where solar power gets installed on community spaces. So you'll be really supporting driving a just energy transition right here in H&F. And the shares for this open in summer. So do just make sure you sign up to their newsletter for updates. I know there was some chat on the Climate Champions WhatsApp earlier about this. And yeah, do sign up to our Climate Connects newsletter to stay updated every month with sort of fun, free or low cost opportunities to take part in climate and nature action. And again, as we said, if you do have ideas, suggestions, questions for us, do just email our inbox. And I'll finish there if there isn't anything else from my team just to add.
Hope, can I ask you?
We will be sharing the slides. Sorry, yes?
Perfect. Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah, sorry, should have said that. We'll be sharing the slides and the recording will go on YouTube. We'll follow up with everyone who not only signed up on Eventbrite, but also here today. So thank you all for attending. And thank you, our speakers. Thanks,
Yes.
I've just got as well
Thank
the
you.
number that's been put in the chat. I believe it's a free phone number as well.
Great.
Yeah. So anything you need, just please get in touch. Really appreciate everyone's time.
Yeah.
Thanks,
And
Alex.
Pascal, you have the hands. I don't know if it's the again.
No, sorry.
Okay.
And
No, just the last things. Adding in what Alex says. Of course, there is eligibility criteria that you will receive in the presentation. But if you come across any residents that you is struggling, please, and you feel maybe if you as a climate champions they don't fit the criteria for the service, please do get in touch with us. We in my years to working here, we never say no, and we try to support as more residents as possible. So yes, please, the door is always open, and we are happy to have the possibility to help, if it's not us, to give some information in how they can start if they like to improve the energy efficiency of the property where they live. And thank you again for the invitation and for the questions. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good rest of your
Thank
day.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.